Hello again. Here we are at what I call section 9 of the blanket pattern for the vintage florals, and yes, my blanket is complete right to the very edge, all done, and I'm pleased to say I've checked over and there are no loose ends lying around anywhere. It's all been carefully sewn in, and I've removed the stitch marker from the front. So my next task is to give it what I call its Pamper Wash. Now, I know from feedback from a lot of people that although the ball band says that the yarn is machine washable at 40 degrees, a lot of people, quite rightly, given the amount of work they've done on the blanket, are quite terrified of the idea of throwing this beautiful blanket into the washing machine and leaving it to the, vagaries of hot water and what's going to happen to it. But honestly, nothing will happen to it apart from it relaxing the fibres a little and making it lovely and soft and very easy to smooth out nice and flat. So that's what I'm going to do today. This particular blanket actually is quite flat to start with, I have to say. There aren't many parts where I would say it could do with being stretched out. This section, I think it was this section with the white flowers, has got a little pulled, and also this section with the treble stitches, because they're a slightly tighter looking stitch than the grannies, it can pull in slightly. So I'm going to wash it and pay particular attention to those areas. Now, there are two reasons for washing a blanket when you're finished. One is to clean it, and yep, I know you will be saying, well, I keep my blanket very clean when I'm crocheting. Yeah, and I did as well, but there are, particularly with a blanket of this size, there are points where it will land on the floor because it is a big blanket. You may have pets, and also there's not the small question of your hands. Your hands could be absolutely clean, but they will still be transferring a little grease or sweat from the skin to the fibres. So it's a good idea just to get rid of all that when you're washing it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through it stage by stage. So here I'm holding my camera today, so it's a little bit different from the normal videos. So here's my washing machine. I'm going to just open the door and let's put the blanket in the washing machine. I will probably need two hands, so I'll come back to you when I've just got. We've got the blanket is now in its safe little place in the washing machine, and I am going to use a simple washing pod. This is an eco-friendly washing pod that I get from a company called Smol, S-M-O-L. Just going to put that in on top of the blanket and close the door. Bit of a bang here because my washing machine is old and the door needs to be forcefully closed. And then into the drawer I'm going to put a capful of fabric conditioner. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I just like the pure one, and I think it just helps to soften the yarn. So that's going in. Now, everybody's washing machine is different. As I said, this is not a new washing machine, but what I do is I look for the super quick 15-minute 30-degree wash. Now, you can wash it on 30 degrees on the Easy Care. That will take about an hour or so, but this one is just a 15-minute one, and that's fine for me. So what I'm going to do is just turn that around. I've got the 15 minutes, and on the spin speed you can see it's highlighted 800. Now I am going to override that and set it at 1,000, because the blanket can easily take that and it will come out drier. I haven't actually tried it on the 1200. It might be absolutely fine as well, but I've done it at 1,000 spin speed. And then start. And I'll come back in 15 minutes when the blanket is washed. 15 minutes later, and a quick coffee, and my machine is finished. So I'll put it to off and we'll get the blanket out. It's already feeling softer, and I'm just going to switch off the camera for a second and I'll show you what I do with it next. Right, so now I've moved through from the kitchen to a spare bedroom, and I am laying the blanket out on the spare bed to smooth it out. First of all, what I've done is I've put a piece of fleece onto the bed, which will protect the bed from the dampness, but also it's got a kind of tooth to it, if you like. It will grab the blanket, and when I'm smoothing it out, it will hold it in place. This particular fleece is a piece I bought online, and I'll leave a link to where I got it in the comments below. It's a nice thick one, and it's a really wide one. I think it only took 2 meters to buy. You can use anything really. You can use towels or a sheet, but I particularly like the fleece. So yeah, so what I do now is all I have to do is just start from the middle really and smooth any wrinkles out. And I just take some time to do that, just working from the centre out and flattening the blanket. It stays in position because of the fleece, and I can leave it there overnight and it will dry. Now actually the blanket, having come out of a 1000 spin speed, it's really almost dry to the touch already. There's a slight dampness to it, which is going to actually help, because if it's still damp, it will help it to smooth out. And as you can see, as I'm working, the blanket is really nice and flat. It actually smells beautiful and it feels nice and soft as well. There we go. Now, if you don't have a double bed, you can lay it on the floor if you've got space on the floor to lay it out. You can, if necessary, hang it out on a washing line. I don't overly recommend that because it can stretch it a little, but if you can get it onto a floor or a bed and leave it, then all to the good. You just need to take about maybe 5 minutes or so to smooth out any bumps and wrinkles, and that's your blanket finished. Now, as I say, I've put a link to where I got the fleece from in the comments. I'll also link to the washing pod that I used. Not that you can use any washing pod, but I particularly like these ones. And yeah, the only last thing to say is please, please do not do this if you have decided to use a different yarn from the one that I've recommended. If it's a wool yarn, for example, go by the instructions on the ball band rather than this, because there are lots of wools which are not machine washable, and I don't want you to ruin your blanket. But if you've used the Stylecraft Special, Stylecraft Batik, James C. Brett, any of the acrylic yarns will handle the washing in a machine perfectly. And there we go. So by tomorrow, or even later today, it doesn't take long to dry. This will be dry and ready to be folded up, and that's my vintage floral blanket finished. Bye for now.